Good morning. Welcome to Garage 93. I haven't done a shop tour in over 4 years. There's a lot of new bikes in here, a lot of new equipment. I've changed some things organizationally, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So one of the most frequent questions is, what kind of lift is this? This is a Handy SAM 1000. I think I got it in 2015 for around $900, and it's been a fantastic investment. I definitely have to say the longevity of how much time you can spend working in a day is a lot more when it's up on a lift than when it is crouched down trying to work on something on the ground. And then recently an upgrade to this, which I've always had a chair, but now we have one, at least of a bike build's level. It's very comfortable to do a chain and sprocket when the chain and sprocket is right here and you have a comfortable place to sit and work on it. When I was first setting up Garage 93, I was looking for an air compressor that could run a twin piston setup on 110. I now have 220, but I didn't originally. The Ingersoll Garage Mate is a 25 gallon compressor, but it's a twin piston belt driven compressor. It's efficient, it's powerful, it's quieter than most, and if you put a 20 amp breaker in the box, you can run it on 110. And using the sandblast cabinet, there's sometimes I definitely crave more air, but this is pound for pound, super powerful setup, and I love it for running everything here. Right next to that is my ultrasonic cleaner. This is the 30 liter model. I use this thing all the time. I just put Simple Green Aircraft in it with water. Runs a pretty light mix dilution, and it's crazy how much time it saves you just putting the dirty parts in there and then letting it run a cycle. Underneath, I have my active pressure washer actually plumbed in. So it's always ready to go. The fittings on this are super easy to disconnect and connect. I just connect my hose, run it outside. I'm sure you've seen some of the bike washing videos. This thing, pound for pound, for an electric pressure washer, puts out quite a bit of water flow, which is the most important part, not necessarily the highest pressure for detailing and all the auto use. So I really like these active pressure washers. A must for every workshop, the Maglite 5D. These are Sure Shot containers. I have CRC brake clean in here, and then acetone in this one. I try to use rechargeables when I can. Up here we have a little dispenser bottle and Motul RBF 700. I run that in all the brakes of the motorcycles that I have. We have a plaque from the Red Bull Performing Under Pressure camp. I got to experience with a bunch of talented athletes from all over the globe. Really thankful for that. And we have posters and promotional material from different things that I've done with Robbie Madison and Brad Baker. And my first ever photo shoot with Red Bull with Garth Milan for a poster in East LA. One of my favorite axes in the corner. It's funny, every once in a while I get people in the comments ask me why I need an axe. Well, it's to chop wood. That one's super cool. That's a parking sign for a flat track spool that I did in Greece with Red Bull. This is the bench grinder. I have this set up with just a standard stone wheel and then a wire brush. I use the wire brush a lot, cleaning up threads or burning Loctite off or some oxidation. All of my walls here that you see slotted like this are all wall control. I can't say enough good things about them. They set up 16 inches on center, so they just go right on your stud pattern. They support a lot of weight. They give you organization options, but we have some JS screwdrivers, snap-on pry bars, the Red Bull Racing Weir screwdriver set, which is super cool. The black snap-on screwdriver set, which these are super cool because if you take a look, these are the Dale Earnhardt edition. I didn't even know they made these. I ended up getting them on eBay just this past year, and I just had to have them. These are all Motion Pro T-handles. I have these Motion Pro Spinner T-handles, which are awesome for quick disassembly and assembly. And then if you're not doing this already, this is the way. This is Stahlube marine grease. This is Stahlube red grease, and I just order a bulk pack of syringes and squeeze the grease in the tube. You put a little cap on the end of it, and it is absolutely the best, cleanest way to apply grease. This is like the first tool I ever had. It's the old Made in USA Park Tool 456 Allen. I still love and use this thing all the time. I have no problem with a Y-handle Allen, so those are great. This is a trash can, actually. I just make them out of a fuel drum. This one's ELF one. You can do a VP one, whatever 15-gallon drum you have available. Cut around the top. split a piece of heater hose, and then simple as that. I love the aesthetic of them. It's a pretty functional trash can for a shop. Kicker Bullfrog speaker, this thing's awesome. Next to it, I have this Capri light. It's adjustable LED light bar. It's magnetic. You can hang it, and then you can also swap it to UV. This is a roller cart that I took the wheels off of. A lot of the common use chemicals that I use are down there. I keep a lot of my abrasives and consumables and die grinder air tools here. Anything from long Capri one to buzzsaw. One thing you can never have enough of are zip ties, so that's why I have all of them. Back here is where I keep my anti-seize, greases, air tool oil. I used to have, I can't remember what brand it was, Vice, for many years. And I was pressing a shock head seal on it one time, it broke, and it just happened at the right time where I wanted to treat myself, and I bought this Wilton Vice, I think 5-6 years ago. And I think it'll be the first and last Vice I ever need to buy. This is absolutely awesome. So I keep my impact and drill up here, all the different lights that I have, micrometers, measuring tool conversion. This is my favorite box blade. So I bought this bench years ago, and Craftsman is still made in USA. This is an 8-foot stainless top workbench with a toolbox on the side and this hutch over the top. I love this thing. I use the stainless top like a whiteboard. Doing the notes and to-do lists on the table is huge for me. This is my catch-all organization. I have totes and stuff with bigger products, but here we have coarse banjo bolts, fine banjo bolts, crush washers, all kinds of stuff, caliper spacers, earplugs, batteries, daily pocket stuff that you take out of your pocket once you're in the shop. This is the high octane engine that keeps the shop running. The Red Bull fridge is key. As you guys know, I've been a Red Bull athlete for over 15 years as an athlete in exhibition stunt riding, and we now do so many different projects in the bike build series together, so that's been a huge part of my program. So we always keep that here for both myself and the crew in the shop. This is cool because this is the original PW50 piston out of my first motorcycle. And then this is the CR500 piston when I built the CR500 a couple years ago. So just to show some difference in displacement, PW50, CR500. Right here is where I keep all my bit sockets, like socket Allens, Torx, triple square, stuff like that. Long Allen sockets, all the Wera L keys. You have 1/4 inch spinners, 3/8 inch spinners, 3/8 inch pinless universals. This is my socket drawer. It makes me really happy when I open it. At this point, I feel like I have all that I need for all jobs either coming up or done in the past. The chromes are all Snap-on and Colton. I've really fallen in love with Colton in recent history, so that's taking over a lot of the chrome. And then all the impact sockets are Capri, but this right here between the universals, short, long, semi-deep, 12-point, 6-point, I kind of have it all, and I haven't run into a project this year that I haven't had the sockets that I've needed yet for it. This table specifically is supposed to only be parts for projects in motion. So I try to clear this out to 0 before I bring in a new build so that I'm not getting things mixed up. So again, this wall control, I love it. I just love having the organization options that it offers. But back here is a mixture of all kinds of parts that I want to get eyes on. The Rizoma stuff I was just using recently with the Scout. Vortex sprocket selection, depending on the bike, I usually keep 1 or 2 spare or gearing changes for the models that I'm riding. And then one of the most important things in here is one of my daughter's first pieces of art that she brought home to me. So my full-size gun that I used to Cerakote with before I learned how to do it properly. This is my Iwata gun that I got from Cerakote specifically that I use now, which is so much more proper and accurate. Right here we have a flat stock tubing bender for just making little brackets. It's called the Machete from TMR. The long time camp hatchet that I bring with me all the time, and then James Brand just sent me this smaller pack hatchet, which I don't know, I have a thing for sharp objects and cool toys. So when I first got in the shop, I saw this Gear Wrench Master standard metric set, and then I double up with Snap-on the box wrenches on this side. Dead blow hammers, another dead blow hammer, ball peen, mallet, scissors. These are all Kai scissors. They are my most favorite scissors in the entire world. They're all made in Japan. These ones cut through aluminum, sheet aluminum, copper. I'm very, very impressed with those. This is hands down the best brake bleeding combo I've ever come in contact with. This is the Capri brake bleeder. I am so confident in bleeding brakes now that if I Teflon the banjos, I'll suck a system dry just to have the system run clean and put fresh fluid in it and do a whole brake bleed in a 5-minute period. This is a tire durometer, mainly for checking the durometer reading of a tire when it's hot versus cold. Motion Pro seal pullers, hose removers. This is like a brake caliper brush. That's good for harsh stuff. These are box wrenches. I don't use these very much, but I definitely do love this very thin. This is a box wrench, and this, there's sometimes casters and things that are hard to get to. This is a very cool wrench. This is very cool. I always used to juggle trying to figure out how to hold my Cerakote gun up when I was mixing the product. And this is a stand they make that just presents it. So this is a Motion Pro clutch holding tool. All I had ever used before was a tool that's more similar to a vice grip, but this, what you do is you actually align this with the outer teeth on the clutch hub, and you just tighten it down, and then you're able to access the nut that's inside, and this holds it very securely. These are Capri sliding T-handles. I still like using a lot of T-handles, and the thing that's cool about these is you can just spin it quickly like that, or if you want to break it loose, you slide it to the end, insert it, break it loose, put it back to a T, and spin it. These are awesome. Yeah, Capri. So this is another drawer that makes me smile a lot. I have my Weir torque wrenches. I have some of my snap-on ratchets that I've had for quite some time. And then recently I've been introduced to these Colton ratchets. 3/8 head, quarter body, super fine tooth. I get a lot of questions about the torque wrenches, 2.5 to 25 Newton meter, 10 to 50 Newton meter, and 20 to 100 Newton meter. These are all for different size applications, so I love using these. Pneumatic air guns, the MG725, had this for a very long time, and then I recently got this more compact model, Capri 1/2 inch. And I don't want to spend too much time on the toolbox, so I think we're going to do a separate toolbox tour versus a garage tour, but this is a great drawer with punches, files, chisels, deburring tools, picks, anything of that nature. This is everything grabbing. This is Knipex drawer for the most part. I love their stuff, especially these plier wrenches. It's not just a normal adjustable wrench. You actually set specifically the size, and then if you clamp in the tightening direction, it's a secure, proper tool to use. It's not just like grabbing a vice grip. And this might be the most used tool in the shop. And the heater back. And then in here is more of like kit storage, so Motion Pro bearing presses and bearing drivers and metric tap and die. This side of the box is a little bit more operational per category. Like this one specifically is all my electric stuff, so from heat shrink to test leads to wire to multimeter. So here I have a mixture of coffee table books, some books that I enjoy, some DVDs that shaped the optics for me completely on riding a motorcycle as a career as a whole. Faster to Doug DeMocha's The Wheelie King, Serving It Up, Steve McQueen's Bullet. There's things that I watched when I was a kid. This was all pre-YouTube, over and over and over again. And underneath I have my welder and welding supplies. I have my travel toolbox that this is what I take when I'm going somewhere without the van or the shop. So now that we're over here, I think we should talk about the Levrack. I've only had this Levrack for a year and a half, and it has been one of the most game-changing things for the footprint of my shop. So in the Levrack on the top shelf, we have Cerakote, both H series and C series. On this shelf, we have the Motul products. We have Shine and Go, Chain Lube, Fork Oil, 800, 300V. That's all the stuff that I'm running the bikes. We have a bunch of Motul 5100 underneath that, which is a very universal oil that I like to run in the majority of the bikes that I have in here. Down below that is just a mixture of all kinds of different cleaners and polishes and sanding discs, wire brushes, syringes, drying towels, microfiber cloths. Below that we have a lot of EBC braking product. Back here we have Optima batteries, all shapes and sizes. All right, so just over here, usually this one stays open because I access the hardware quite a bit. It's where I park the golf clubs. I have quite the haul of Mizuno stuff. That's what I like. It's my second favorite thing, second to motorcycles. It's got a home in the shop. I like the gear just as much as the game. I'm hooked bad. Prior to having the Levrack, there was a situation where it was just hard to run to the hardware store or whatever the case was to grab supplies. So I went to McMaster and I ordered so much hardware of 10, 15, 25, 35, 110 mil, M5, M6, Allen head, socket cap, like all kinds of different hardware so that I had a supply to pull from for the builds without having to run around. We have every EBC brake pad you would want in compound choice for all of the calipers of motorcycles that I own and have in the fleet. So I've always wanted to set up like this, and the Levrack presents it perfectly. Inside here I have helmets up top, gloves here in the middle, visors on the middle on this side for all the helmets, and then footwear, boots. This is the gear bag alley. These gear bags for the most part are different disciplines, so maybe this one's motocross, this one's gonna be a road race gear bag, and this is gonna be grab and go stump bag. On top of the Levracks, I have Bridgestone tires, R10s, RS10s, some VO2 track slicks, some Battle Axe AX41S. I have some Battle Axe Adventure stuff here. It just depends on what I have going on. I go through tons of 180 and 190 rears on the stump bikes. Try to keep a mixed bag up there, both on and off-road stuff, depending on the projects at hand. I like to keep a supply of oil filters on hand, tapes. Believe it or not, there's many different tapes for many different usage. It's not duct tape for everything, so I have a lot of different ones for Cerakote and making the ovens and gaff tape. And I have a lot to pull from, just from many bike projects over the years. Like, oh, I need a terminated steering stabilizer plug. Just random things that sometimes there isn't a quantifiable price for because you can't get them. And I've stockpiled them over the years. I like to run EK 3D chains as much as possible. I absolutely love those and the Vortex product together. When I was working on a seat with Saddlemen, they actually sketched this for me prior to making the panels for the seat. So I do a lot of work with the guys at Saddlemen. They're as good as people as you can possibly have, and thankful to have them as part of the team. Tires to wheels. Some of these are empty rims. These are rims that it's a fresh color. I haven't broke out yet, but I'm gonna mix it up a little bit on one of the next builds for the stump bike. So that's a little sneak peek for you guys. This is a satin black chrome. We've been experimenting a little with both Cerakote and powder coats. I've been a partner with Alpine Stars for well over 10 years now. I feel like they always keep me looking the absolute best that I can. Custom racing suits like this that are on brand completely. 2 vented mesh jackets like this one that I wear a lot on the stump bikes for doing exhibitions and video projects. Movie stuff, double work, things more casual that still have padding. Sometimes I'll sneak in a jacket like this, Alpine Star jacket that's relatively casual that has both elbow and shoulder pads. This is kind of the more than a weekender cooler that we take out for the big trips. Gas cans, portable speakers that sometimes we bring to events. 5,000 watt generator. I normally travel with a 2200, but if we're gonna rent an Airstream and go to Day in the Dirt or do anything big, I got the Jenny for that. This is a fire extinguisher, but this is actually full of water. I keep one of these on hand. You can also take it to the track to wash your dirt bike. Depends, that's why I got it originally, but why I keep it now is for that. This is the Viper Creeper. I didn't know Creepers were supposed to be comfortable. This thing's amazing. So mixed bag of tires here. We have a shredded rear from the Triumph and a fresh one that's got to go on it when I get a little extra time this afternoon. Then we have the front that I was running on the R1 when we took it to the sand dunes. And then we have this beast of a 15 paddle that we took out to Silver Lake Sand Dunes in the R1 project. I mean, it's apocalyptic if I've ever seen anything. Disc sander, belt sander combo, my low speed buffer, which I bring out, and what I'll do is I can bolt these down or magnet these down. I can use the buffer here. And if I want to use the bandsaw, which is portable, I don't want to make a mess, I just go like this. This is super cool. This is a table made by Swag Off-Road. And all you do is you just retrofit your bandsaw to their table. And then they have some attachments, and I don't have the footprint for a bandsaw, but this is the perfect use case for one. So this is a cool little tool. So it'd be tough to do a garage tour without talking about some of the bikes in here. So we'll just start with the one I finished the most recently. This is the new Indian Scout 1250 that I did my interpretation of what I would like this motorcycle to be and ride as. And this is the brainchild of what I came up with, and I love riding this thing. This is the FS450. This is a factory-built supermoto that I then rebuilt. I definitely plan on using this bike for some different film shoots. Next to that, CR125. I built this one probably over 4 years ago for the bike build series. It was one of the earlier ones I had done with Red Bull. Certain things get neglected when you move on from projects. I'm gonna give it a refresh as well as create some how-to videos along the way. So this is the CT70 build. It actually was proven in a case study that it's impossible to frown while riding one of these. So that was specifically the reason that I wanted to get one of these. I love the Triumph platforms. I love the 675s and the 765s. And when I found out they were making the all carbon full fairing Daytona with the 765 Moto 2 platform on the motor, I was super excited. I've been riding it more and more. It's been getting me back out on track, doing track days, which is kind of exactly what I wanted it for. So happy to have this bike basically in both stunt format and track format. This is the Indian FTR 1200. This is a very sexy motorcycle. It's one of the first FTR 1200s off the production line. I was brought in to be a part of the launch campaign for this, which was super cool. It definitely has that seat of the pants, visceral V-twin excitement, but still is sporty throughout the canyons, and I've taken it to track days, and I think they really found a good middle ground with that, and I love riding this thing. So a lot of people know about the R1. I really love how this one turned out. This is a fan favorite of many, myself included. It's a beast, it's everything I want it to be. It's scary, it's loud, but that's what this project was supposed to be, and I'm happy I was able to make that happen. If I'm gonna start something, this would probably be the R1. Thank you guys for joining me on the workshop tour. I'll see you on the next project.